What is that? This place has crazy stuff like this too? Mirai, run!
The path!
Mirai!
Big Sis! Your hand!
Hello you Lolita fajitas and welcome to my review of Crystar. Now first things first, I want to say I love the 2D art style in this game. The real gothic look to it, how it's quite dark and quite grimy, but at the same time it's quite vibrant. It's quite funny how it works together, but it's just really good. I love the eyes in particular. They really draw you in and you just can't help but look. Unfortunately, it doesn't really translate as well to the 3D graphics, which is a bit of a shame. So there is quite a bit of a contrast between the two. But again, with the 3D graphics, the eyes actually still work because they've made them super bright and super sparkly. Almost like you're looking at a starry sky sometimes, but it's very pleasant to look at. Another thing I really like is the music. It's got a nice classical taste to it, but there's also like a mix of electronica and a little bit of metal as well with some of the songs. And it really blends well and just suits the mood of the game. Speaking of the mood of the game, it's kind of like a dark and dreary version of Alice in Wonderland. The whole time I was playing this game, all I could think about was Alice in Wonderland. Not that it's, oh, I just want to go watch the film again. It's just a case of, it's like, it's the same, here's a girl just kind of stuck in this random world and she's got to deal with it. But there's a lot more to this in some ways than in Alice in Wonderland. I know Alice in Wonderland is open to interpretation and all that stuff, as everything is, but the way that the character Ray has to deal with going through Purgatory and trying to save her sister while doing things she's not happy about, that sounds a bit sinister there, sorry about that, about the doing things she's not happy about, but yeah, it's a great take on it. While I'm talking about the music and the feel, I will talk about the sound design. Now, the attacks and everything, that all sound fine, it's not a problem. However, you may get annoyed with the fact that the main character talks after every single attack. Sorry, not just the main character, but all the characters that you can use. Every single time they use their weapons, they say something. It's not just a grunt, it's words or phrases as well, which I know can get on a lot of people's nerves. For me, I mean, I'm used to it, but yeah, I know for a lot of people that can put you off. So just be aware that if you're not really a fan of that, just turn it down in the sound and then just listen to the amazing music. Simple as that. As I mentioned earlier, this deals with Purgatory, and we all know what that is. It's all about the afterlife. Now, the way the game handles it all is really well done, like in the story. Okay, so when it comes to describing it or figuring out what the monsters are, the spectres and revenants they're calling this, it's really well done. However, when it comes to playing the game and going through the levels, all the different levels of Purgatory feel the same, except maybe someone's turned the lights off in one level and someone's maybe turned the sun brightness up a little bit on the next level. So it is a shame that the labyrinths or dungeons, however you want to call them, the different levels and layers of Purgatory all kind of feel the same and look the same. Again, it's really upsetting when you look at the 2D art style and how good that is, that they just couldn't translate it well enough into the 3D part of the game. Also, another thing you must do is change it to Japanese voice acting. I don't know what it is, but for all of the characters I listened to when it came to the voice acting, the voices didn't really fit the character, so they kind of like got jumbled up. It was a bit odd listening to it where you're going, okay, that voice kind of actually fits this character. Why was she not the voice actor for that one, or why was he not the voice actor for this one? So it is a bit odd listening to the English voice acting. Plus the Japanese voice acting, it just seems a little bit better. I mean, I know a lot of the time it is for like the JRPGs, but it's just there's a lot more emotion and they actually get the names right as well. So yeah, that's always a plus. I know I couldn't help but giggle, I still am now. That's one of the characters called Mirai, and someone kept calling her Murai. I mean, I know I'm not the greatest at speaking English, but it's a bit frustrating when it's a name and it's clearly spelled, yet they pronounce it wrong. So yeah, that just irked me a little bit. Okay, so enough talking about stuff that isn't the gameplay or the meat and bones part of the game. Firstly, the controls is hack and slash. It's not as complicated as your Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, where you have your squares and circles combos, or sorry, squares, circles, and triangles. There we go, I know shapes. And triangle combos. The light attack is pretty much all you need, except when you want to do some spells or special skills. The heavy attack isn't really worth doing because of how long it takes for you to pull off, and it does like 1.7 times the damage, whereas you can get 2 light attacks off. So that was a little bit of a shame. It could be a bit more complex. However, when you do transition from your light combos to your skills, it's really easy to do and super quick. Sometimes the movement feels a little bit stiff, especially when you're doing attack and then you're trying to dash out of the way. Overall, it's passable. It does its job, so it's not really an annoyance. You won't get frustrated by it. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, didn't really feel like I should have been hit there, I should have dashed out of the way, but that doesn't happen a lot. As mentioned as well, there are multiple characters you can choose from, and it's all just quickly done by using the D-pad, so they're all with you, even though they don't show up, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, you just press up, down, left or right, choose whoever you want to use on the D-pad, and then it's just seamless. You just go straight in, and they all have their own health meters, obviously, and their own tier gauges, which you'll get onto as well. You don't need to worry about someone with 1 HP and it carries over. So yeah, that pesky tier gauge that's been in the bottom left this whole time, and you might have heard the bloops as it fills up. Each of the executors, which are the playable characters, they have a guardian with them, and when you fill that tier gauge up, you then get to summon your guardian, who does the extra damage. They summon behind you like a big old ghosty burly man behind you, and then they just fight as well. Copy your combos and your skills, so it just does a bunch of extra damage. If you tap L1, they also do a massive finisher attack as well, which does a lot of damage, which is great fun. It fills up the whole screen, so you know, it's pretty cool. We like those kind of things. Also, as it's Purgatory and the Revenants and Spectres are based on loads of different doubts and stuff like that, you get these things called Torments, which actually give you items which you can use to craft or fuse together as well to make each of the items stronger. When you get those torments, the most you can have is 10, and the more you have, the less beneficial it is for your character. And what I mean by that is they have reduced attack and reduced defense. The more you have, you've got to be wary. If you're on like the stronger dungeons, stronger levels, you're not going to get one hit, but yeah, suddenly you'll be like, oh okay, they're doing twice as much damage to me now. Don't worry about it, just get all 10, fill them up, fill your boots. It doesn't affect you too much, which is good. A little bit of a shame because they could have done some fancy things, like you would have seen as well that every now and then these words come up, saying like, I don't know, mum don't leave me, or cooking's great, or so many girls for some reason pops up a lot. It's really good how it plays on you. Those are the torments, and you kind of feel that, and you can listen to the people being tormented. They could have done a bit more with the torments, so I don't know, made your screen go all funny or dark images or something coming up. Could have been nice that they expanded on it a little bit. Oh, and why is this game called Crystar? That is because crying actually helps you get stronger. It makes you better at the game, so you use your tears to purify those torments, and that enhances your weapons or gets you new weapons. Crying apparently is a good thing, well, especially in this game anyway. A couple of other things I want to touch on is there's an auto item feature, so if you're low health you just automatically heal when you're down to a certain amount, which is great. It's so easy. Instead of what would be in a turn-based RPG, you throw your item, use it to heal. When it's action RPG, it's just nice that you don't have to press to get into a menu and then get back into the action. It's not stop and start, you're just always in the action, which is really good. And the healing items are all sweet, so that's a positive in my book. I mentioned the music earlier. You can actually, when you've heard a song in the game or in the story, you can actually go into the menu and listen to the song. It's actually something I wish Streets of Rage 4 had. Maybe they patched it in now, but yeah, something I really wish Streets of Rage 4 had. Instead I had to go to Spotify and listen to the album, but you know, it's fine. And the last thing I want to mention is that once you do the quests and you've beaten bosses, you can actually go back and fight the bosses again to get rarer items. I really like those kind of things, so instead of you having to replay everything, you can literally just go, oh, I want to go fight the boss again. Some of the bosses, unfortunately, you do have to go up several layers to then get to the boss and fight him again, but by that time, if you're fighting the boss again, you're probably over leveled because you've already beat him, so you just breeze through that anyway. So that was my review of Crystar. I did enjoy the game. I found it a lot of fun. It was a very different take on what I normally play. It felt a lot more feminine, probably is, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I love the 2D art style, I love the music. Gameplay's okay. I really like the story and how it gets dark and very deep. Those kind of things are right up my alley. Would I recommend it? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say pay 50 quid for it, but if you can get it for like £20 or less, it's definitely worth your time. So yeah, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.